Hello and welcome back to Swinging at Shins, a Premier League podcast. I am joined on this very snowy nor'easter day by Aaron. Aaron, how are we doing?
I got canceled to go to work, so I got to stay home all day.
I would say that I actually got canceled to go home, but I was never told to go home, so I could not have been canceled. I have been at work all day. But that is okay because I live close and it's really not that bad. You know what else isn't bad?
What isn't bad?
Arsenal won convincingly against Fulham. And that win completed a clean sheet sweep of all away London derbies.
I saw that today too.
What a stat. Can you imagine that stat? If you showed me that stat in 2019 and said, this is what Arteta's building.
Would you believe it?
Probably not. I don't think I would have believed anything good could ever happen at that point.
We're getting relegated.
There are times I felt like it. I never thought we were that bad, but to not give up clean sheets away from home.
Yeah.
Man. Manchester City handled Crystal Palace. Handled, maybe not the best word. I have since gone back and actually looked at that and took a penalty to get them that 1-0 win at Selhurst Park. Everton did manage a massive 1-0 win against Brentford at home, putting themselves 1 point clear of relegation.
Yep.
Other things we were getting into involving Brentford is Thomas Frank calls Ivan Toney's betting charges a tricky situation, and Simon Jordan states that Toney should be banned. Instead, it looks like he might be called up for the national team. So no one can agree on what to do with him. Chelsea find the back of the net 3 times against Leicester to get back to winning ways in the league. Maybe that Dortmund game was kind of the turnaround they needed. Brighton and Leeds play out a 2-2 draw, not helping either team all that much.
Nope.
Brighton's in a good position. Brighton's in a very good position in the table to maybe fight for Europe.
Yep.
I don't know if they actually want to do that. And Leeds is not in a very good position and needs every point they can possibly get. Although, in hindsight, probably
2 more.
They could have done with 2 more, but at least getting a point may turn out to be very good against a good Brighton side. Spurs defeat Forest 3-1 as Richarlison finds his first Premier League goal elusive still. He thought he had it. He didn't have it. We're going to talk about that because I love it.
Offsides.
It's amazing. Aston Villa and West Ham played to a 1-1 draw after a controversial penalty is given to West Ham. Not as controversial as I thought it was going to be from a lot of people, but I don't think it should have been a pen. Speaking of things that I'm not sure should have necessarily happened, Manchester United dropped points to Southampton away. It was away? I didn't even realize this. That was at Old Trafford. After Casemiro sees red for the second time this season. This was his second game back from his most recent red suspension, which sounds like he didn't have a red card his entire La Liga career. And now he's got 2. We'll get into the nitty-gritty on that. I'm not convinced it's a red, but I'm not convinced the reasons why I'm not convinced are convincing. All that?
I got all of it.
All right. But first, we're going to start today's show with Bournemouth 1-0 Liverpool. Answering the questions of how do you follow up one of the biggest wins in your history by losing to bottom of the league?
Salam. No, they just pulled the wool over Liverpool, over the face there, and said, I'm going to take the goal and go. See you later. You're not going to get that record on us.
And it does seem like an away game smash and grab. Yeah. But again, this was at home for Bournemouth.
Yeah. Well.
Very open game in a very tiny stadium.
Yeah.
That's how it felt to me.
It didn't seem like Liverpool. They were playing the 7-0 match versus United. That's how it felt for me.
Yeah, it's almost like they had too big of a win.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, this is easy. We remember how to do this. And it's like, do you? Do you actually?
Clearly.
Because this is harder than you think it is.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great goal. I thought Konate got caught sleeping right after they were singing their praises. Oh my God, the beginning of this match drove me crazy. 20 seconds in, and the announcer's always like, and they're off to a better start than Arsenal were last week. And I'm just like, let's not go making those. Nope, don't make that comparison. That's bad.
Look, I had to sit through when the Arsenal match against Bournemouth, and they were like, they did this against Aston Villa every 5 minutes. I'm like, shut up.
I think the big thing to take away from this is A, Liverpool's so wishy-washy.
Yeah.
But B, Bournemouth on their day, especially the past two matches, are a very good side. They're not the last two matches. They're not the last two matches are a very good side. Can they put it together? Can they put it together over 38? Probably not. I think they've proven that. 27 in. And where are they? Oh, yeah, 18th.
Yeah.
But they are playing very well right now. This isn't the first time they shot up. After they fired Scott Barker, they shot up the table. And then they did this again.
I just Bournemouth probably is going to get relegated. There's obviously still a chance.
There's
literally
no
anybody
probably. I was going to say.
Excuse me, from 12 to...
The bottom 9 are all within 5 points. There's no probably getting relegated in any of that.
Yeah.
Whenever anyone says so-and-so is definitely going down, you just know they hate that team. That's all that means.
Except for maybe Southampton. They might actually be going down.
Southampton has
17.
proven the least. They're 20th now. They jumped out, but they have proven the least for me.
Well, when you buy a bunch of academy players, you're not really setting yourself up for a good season.
It worked for a while. I want to talking about this Liverpool match. Yes. Did you see the penalty?
Yes, I did. Maybe
did you see why? Did you see the handball leading to the penalty? Jumped up for a header, missed it. Well, right? I saw Mo Salah miss the penalty, but I'm not talking. We're going to get to that. Did you see the reason why the penalty was given?
Oh, was he? His hand was in the air, wasn't it?
Yep, it was in the air, and he went up to jump, and he was coming down, and he came down. He did this as he came down, as you do. And I think it was Gakpo headed it right off his shoulder. Right off his elbow. And Robertson came screaming out of nowhere, "Oh my God, it's not fair," and they gave it to him. He was literally 3 inches away, falling out of the air. I don't know what a handball is anymore because I looked at it and went, "That's not a handball. You can't call that a handball."
I actually thought that one was a handball. It did look like he made himself only slightly bigger. Was it a soft handball?
His back is to the play.
It doesn't matter.
He was going for the header. His back was to the play. He was 3 inches away, and his arm was in a natural position. Well, it's not a handball.
He was watching himself on the big screen, so he knew how to make himself larger.
That is so bad. And the football gods agree with me because Mo Salah put that one out of the park.
Oh,
and into the English Channel. That thing went flying.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was thinking.
I don't know.
You don't need that good. You don't need to put it top shelf to beat that goalie.
Neto, I think if Bournemouth stay up, it's because of Neto.
I'm not saying Neto's not good, but you don't need to put it top shelf to beat Ramsdale. You don't need to put it top shelf to beat pretty much any goalie, sans Emi Martinez, because most goalies are not that good at penalties.
This is true.
Because you're probably not going to get it anyway. And Emmy's not going to be that good once he can't play his mind games anymore. So
that's true. There is that Emmy rule now. So
and that's how you know you're having a big season.
I was going to say
Golden Glove,
pretty good.
World Cup, rule named after you. It's like a Eddie Howe hat trick.
Take that sweep.
I don't know. Poor Liverpool.
Who they play next week? Real Madrid.
Yeah, they have to get through Real this week, and then they have postponed. It says, hold on, I was gonna say
right.
They don't.
Are they in? Is that an FA Cup push?
Chelsea, no. Real, Fulham is postponed because of FA.
City.
They don't play until after the international break. They play away to the Etihad.
Oh crap! I forgot about the international break. Even though you literally just said it wrong down.
Yeah. When they come back, they have this is their next several matches. You ready? Real Madrid.
Yeah.
City away, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home.
Ugh.
That ain't good, especially if Chelsea's actually getting their feet under them.
Yeah.
It'll be a very bad couple of weeks for Liverpool fans, potentially.
And Chelsea will have 2 more weeks of being able to put something together. I'm sure most of those players are going to get called up anyway, but
I also would not be the least bit surprised if Liverpool win every single one of those matches and then lose to Leeds 3-1. Because that's this Liverpool team this year. I don't even know what's going on. Moving on to our next game. Let's do Manchester United.
Okay. I think this is
yeah, what are your thoughts on the red card?
I actually thought it was a soft red card. I understand why it was called. I didn't like it.
You're the VAR guy, and you have the powers that I want to bestow on the VAR guy.
Yes.
Where you get, doesn't matter, final say. You don't know what's been given on the field. You don't know if it was a yellow and it's red. You don't know if it's a red that you got to take back from a yellow. You watch that play in a vacuum. What do you tell the referee he should do? What card?
But there wouldn't have been a card. It was like a click. Whatever. I'm not giving another red.
You're not going to give him a red. You're not going to give it a red.
Nope.
I am of such two minds with this because on the one hand, that is such an obvious play. Not such an obvious, but such a natural play. Mm-hmm. I'm not even that mad that it happened, right? Yeah. And you can see the Southampton players were not like, get this guy off the field. Yeah. They were like consoling him a bit, like, oh man, that's tough. But on the other hand, he went right over the top of the ball. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, he hit the top of the ball with his ankle.
Yeah.
And smashed into the guy's cleats smashed into the guy's shin with his cleats. Studs up, nailed him. And how is that not a red card? It seems wrong and it doesn't seem fair, but it's about serious and dangerous play, right? And that is a dangerous play. I think it is. And it'd be one thing if he was this 19-year-old kid who is in the Prem for the first time and, man, I just want to do good. And he like overshot the ball. But this is Casemiro. He's won more Champions Leagues than, anybody pretty much. He knows how to perform in these situations. You got to control your body a bit better.
So he just got unlucky. I still don't, man, it's just so.
You can have unlucky reds.
It's unfortunate. It
is.
I actually thought it was a soft red. I really thought that it didn't seem as bad as it was.
All right, explain what you mean by soft red to people who don't use that term.
I guess if I had to say that it was a soft red, it means like it might have not been good enough for a yellow, but the severity of it wasn't like a true red card where, that is you see it, you look at it, yeah, that's a red card. Like it's too much for a yellow, but it's not enough to be like that's how I figure a soft red.
I mean, I understand. I think the problem is you can't say true red because now we're into
an obvious red.
And obvious, I think, is a much better word. The problem with true versus non-true is this is a binary thing. And true, false, by definition, is also binary. I don't think it has any, there was no malice. And that was what a lot of people said. He didn't mean to. But malice isn't in the rule books. You don't care about intent. I do not care about intent. I care about what actually happened because that's what I can control. I'm not in the guy's head. You and I deal with this all the time with all the baseball that we watch. Well, he didn't mean to throw at him. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Like there are certain situations you just can't hit the guy.
Yeah. And
there are certain tackles that you just cannot make. And I think this is one of those tackles. I do not think he meant to. But it was like No, I think it was in Everton, one of the blue teams. When that guy got his ankle just completely shattered. I think it was against Liverpool several years ago. Can't remember the names. I remember the tackle. I can't remember who it was. I remember it was blue versus red, and it wasn't Arsenal. I remember that. But his ankle just got completely shattered off a horrible collision that no one wanted. It wasn't malicious. It was just like the worst thing that ever. But at the end of the day, guys, ankle was still broken. You don't get to go to the universe and say, "Well, sorry, I didn't mean to actually do that." You know.
Yeah.
I think.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think that there's something else to get off of the red card. I think this is United was another one of those teams that had a really poor start, and then Ten Hag figured it out, guys. We got rid of Ronaldo, Casemiro's in, and they shot right up the Premier League table. And at one point, there's a very large section of the season that if you take that section of the season in a vacuum, they are top of the league. I think it's like late September to end of January or something like that. They had the most points in that section. Lately, I don't know. United's kind of showing me that they're maybe not the most complete team that they want to be.
I'm certain that they probably want a little bit more quality.
I think Antony's the new Pepe.
Yeah, I could see that. I didn't think it was Pepe.
Right winger, out of Europe, only has a left foot, way overpaid, even though no one apparently wanted him. I'm not seeing it. He has no right foot. Yes, he can do the cutback thing on the left. And yes, when he nails it, it's awesome. And yes, he's incredibly quick. But he doesn't have the speed that Robin had, because Robin always got away with it, right? You know what he was going to do. He only had the one move, but he was so fast it didn't matter if he had the one move or not.
Yep.
And Antony's just not quite that fast. And all you got to do is just stand in the way.
Or knock him off balance. He's really not that, doesn't have that good of balance either.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's balance or he's just used to getting those calls and he's not getting those calls. I'm not saying that's what it is.
No. I'm just saying that if you put him off a little bit, he's not going to fight back either. And, it's easier to defend. And you just try to show him to the weak side foot and call it a day. So they probably need somebody a little more dynamic, I suppose, on the right wing there.
And I don't even know if they need anyone more dynamic on the right wing or if they need a better way to set up their offense through the middle. Because when
Casemiro.
Pepe, true. And seriously, that's a very good point. Like when Casemiro doesn't play, everyone sees him as this number 6 and they go, oh, well, there goes the offense. But he sets up there goes the defense, but he sets up their offense so well.
Yeah.
Their goals for goes down by like almost a goal a game. Their expected goals for.
Yeah.
I think Antony. I think the only problem that we actually have with Antony is the price tag. Same problem with Pepe. If Arsenal had bought Pepe for $30 million, people would say, "Hey, it almost worked out, but he doesn't fit the system, and he needs to go on loan, and maybe he'll figure it out." But they bought him for $80 million, and it was in the banter era, and everyone goes, "Ha ha," right? So now I kind of feel like I'm doing the opposite thing with Antony, where I'm just like, "Ha, look at that guy, he's not doing good," and it's like, yeah, but that's only because he got paid that much.
Yep. Yeah, no, they'll be able to attract any type of forward they want. So there's no concern that they couldn't find anybody or even defensive playmaker to, replace McTominay, really. Or, I don't know, Sabitzer has been pretty decent when he's been healthy. I actually like him. But I don't think they'll keep him. I think I just thought it was a really good loan. But, I think they're like 2 pieces away.
I think they're a little bit more than 2 pieces.
I think they're like 2 pieces away.
I think they're very good. But sans Casemiro for whatever that's worth, because he is 31 years old. So you can't really just be like, oh, we got that locked down, because he's not fallen off yet, but it's closer to now than the beginning of his career.
Mm-hmm.
I look at this midfield, and I would want I would take all of them out and bring in new guys. Eriksson, I like a lot. I liked him even when he was at Spuds. He's the wrong age. I do not like Fred. I do not like McTominay. I think Bruno Fernandes is an issue. I understand he's a very gifted player, but he's not the type of guy that you want in there. And quite frankly, if I was a United guy, I would be a little upset at how much Erik ten Hag is defending him.
Mm-hmm.
Because his personality is just, it's not good. It's divisive. Like you said, Sabitzer is a loan, right?
Yeah.
So that leaves Pellistri, Van de Beek, and Manu. And none of them, I don't want to build around any of those guys right now. Mm-hmm. I think that their attacking side could be good. Everyone says, get a striker, get a striker, get a striker. Yeah, I don't think Woot's their guy going for it. No, but I think that they've really got to move. They really got to turn over their midfield.
They have
I think they got defense handled. And then here's the other issue. David De Gea was on the outs not that long ago. Mm-hmm. And he's also the wrong side of 30, and I understand that goalies get to play a little bit longer. But you also got to be looking for him. And Jack Butland is a loanee.
Yes.
And he's also Jack Butland. And he's also 30. So he's not the guy.
Well.
So that's if we're talking short term, yes, two pieces are short term. Two pieces to compete in the Champions League next year, which is probably where they're going to be. I don't really see anyone overtaking him for third. But if we're talking long term, there's still an awful lot of rotation that I would want to see.
Fine. I was looking short term, personally. I get the long term.
Always got to look long term.
Well, I do that in Football Manager. I don't do that here.
Come on, that's what you get paid to do here.
Yeah, paid in happiness.
That's it. All right, who do you want to talk about next?
I want to talk about. Let's talk about Chelsea. Let's talk about how Chelsea were able to actually get more than 2 goals. In fact, more than 1 goal.
So we were deprived of Mudryk going 007.
Yeah.
That was very sad for me.
Well, every dog, every squirrel finds a nut. He's a player with quality, so eventually he's gonna.
I was gonna say, I think that's rough calling him a squirrel.
You can kind of see the players that they're getting back to now. They're getting their Ben Chilwells and who else did they? Pulisic actually got some time in today, that particular game. I think they're getting the best at, huh? Yeah, he said yes, he did. 73rd minute for Loftus-Cheek. Or could have been. No, it was definitely Loftus-Cheek. Or Chilwell. Probably Chilwell. Either way. I digress.
It doesn't really matter. Move on.
Their defense is starting to solidify. I think that they're starting to find the right pieces moving forward. I think they're
probably starting to play well enough together.
Yeah, there could be. They're finally gelling. For sure. I mean, they looked more of a threat going forward, and they still are a little shaky on the other side, but this team's starting to figure it out, and that's going to be dangerous for the rest of the table that they're going to chase.
Now, does it count that it happened against Leicester?
You got to start somewhere, don't you?
I guess. It's worth saying that Face only got red carded. He got a second yellow after all the goals were scored.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So it wasn't like Leicester was playing a man down. Chilwell started early. Joe had a goal ruled out.
He was offside.
I mean, he was, but my point is they were attacking, they were doing well.
Yes. Enzo gets that assist. So
yeah. Well,
sorry, continue. I cut you off.
I'm still not that impressed by Enzo and Chelsea colors, but I haven't been impressed by any of their new signings, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it's a little bit of they're finally spent enough time together. I think I was very not impressed by the Dortmund side in the Champions League.
I didn't get to watch that game.
That was very kind of lackluster to me.
Mm-hmm.
And with this Leicester side, it's just been getting worse.
Again,
you know, I mean, they're in a relegation battle right now.
They very much are.
This defense also just absolutely scares the crap out of me.
The Leicester City?
Yeah. Ward, Face, Sutar, Amarte. I don't like, no, none of that. None of that. You know what? When you read that off, you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like goals.
But for the opposite reason.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me.
I mean, Sunyunchu was he was killing it a couple of years ago. I don't know what happened to him. Who was it? Ricardo Pereira's coming back from injury. He's broke his ankle like a couple times. He's finally coming back.
Yeah, this is without Tielemans. He's out.
Yep.
Till at least mid-April. I'm not trying to be down on Chelsea. I spent enough time being down on Chelsea. Chelsea very well may have put it together, and you don't spend £611 million in a season and not get some good guys. That definitely happens. And they did. I mean, João to me is almost pointless at this point because he's alone. Maybe they're going to buy him, and maybe they're not. I don't know. But looking ahead, I think Enzo, I think Mudryk, I think all these guys are going to be bad. I still think they need to find a goal scorer.
Yeah.
I'm still also just I'm not convinced with their defense yet. I think their defense is held together a lot by Thiago Silva.
Yeah, well, that's why they went and signed him for another year.
And he is old.
Yeah.
He is 38. I had to look it up. He's 38 years old. Every time I have to look it up because I can't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chilwell can be good. Mark Cucurella can be good. They can definitely be good. I just need to see the consistency.
You know what I would like to see is that they go and I know they have Badia Shield and Fofana and Koulibaly. But I actually wouldn't mind them taking out Kovacic. Kovacic, and putting like a tall, like an Onana type, where you can actually play a Cucurella and Chilwell together on the same side, and have those two guys advancing, and then have Onana drop back, or even play that ball-winning midfielder type. I think that could
all they really need to do is just have N'Golo Kante be healthy again.
Oh, that's a good point too.
He's been out for so long, we keep forgetting about him.
Yeah, well, half that.
They become a much better defensive team with Conte back in.
Yeah,
I think the other problem is he's the major injury.
Yeah,
and he's again the wrong side of 30. I think Chelsea, and I don't know if this is actually true, and you know how I feel about transfer rumors to begin with, and on top of that, Chelsea seemed to be in for everybody. Yeah, well. But they're in the Gavardiol sweepstakes.
Well,
that's exactly the type of person they need.
He's a goal scorer. He scored against City.
And they're gonna need to find another number 6 when Conte's gone. It is, and quite frankly, someone, whether it's Arsenal, whether it's Chelsea, whether it's Liverpool, I think someone is going to pay out the news for Caicedo from Brighton. Because one of those teams is going to get Declan Rice.
Yep.
And the other team's going to have to get him. I really think so. Unless they can look mainly in Europe. And obviously we're a Premier League-centered podcast. And if you guys can't tell by the crib behind me, I have a lot of my own stuff going on. So I do not get to watch all the different leagues. But I really think that's what Brighton did when, he committed his long-term future. And all I'm thinking is Brighton went, oh, man, we almost lost him for cheap. Let's make sure we don't do that in the summer. But,
yeah.
And again, that's not to say that Brighton isn't a good team to play for. Brighton right now is 7th in the Premier League. They're 7th. They're how many points? They are 9 points behind Tottenham Hotspur. And they have 3 games in hand. They are winning. They're 3 games in hand away from being 4th.
Yeah, there's still a lot to look forward to in that particular team.
Yeah, we are not down on Brighton at all.
No, they're either going to be right exactly where they are or higher.
Yeah, I really don't think they're going to get lower.
Yeah.
I don't know who comes up. Fulham and Brentford are both showing cracks. They're both showing to slow down.
You're going to hate this, but I think the only team that could weasel their way in there
Chelsea.
Yeah.
And they could.
I mean,
Chelsea could turn it on.
They're only a game behind, 3 points.
Well, you know who else could, and I don't think they're going to?
Shoot.
Aston Villa could see themselves in a Conference League position by the end of the season.
Could. That's why Unai keeps saying.
Yeah. They actually have a shot at Europe.
That's a possibility, especially if Brentford lose Tony this year.
Yeah, we talk about how tight the bottom is. 11th to 4th.
Did you see?
Is 11 points. No, sorry. 13 points. It is 13 points from 11th to 4th.
I shared something on our Instagram page.
Yep. No, I saw it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a tale. This year is a tale of 3 sections. Really? Well, 4 halves. Well, yeah.
I mean, these people.
It's a tale of 4 sections.
I guess.
No, it's not because United. I was going to say United's on their own, but United is not actually that far away. Maybe someone does overtake them. But yeah, 3. You have the title race, then you have 10 teams in for Europe, and then you have 9 teams in for relegation.
Yeah.
And everyone has a realistic shot.
Yeah, it's a neat little situation that's going on.
Yeah, because by now you usually have at least one team that's like guaranteed getting relegated. Yeah. Everyone else is 25 points. They have 12. Why are you even here?
Yeah.
And then you have like the top 4 has like a 10-point gap on anyone else. Or maybe the top 5 or 6, but then you have like 12 to 7. Who knows what's going to happen? And this year it's like, no.
Tight.
It is tight. The biggest gap, and the biggest gap second to third, but the biggest gap inside of those is literally the title race at 6 points.
Yeah.
There are more points that separate Arsenal from City right now than there are points that separate 12th from 20th.
Yeah.
By the way, as we record this is 3:58 p.m. on March 14th. 14/3/2023. It is Pi Day. I was like, why does this make so much? Why does this? Oh, speaking of, we're American soccer fans. So Ted Lasso tomorrow. I am legitimately excited. You should watch that show. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yo ho.
I'm not going to condemn or condone that.
Neither am I.
I think you already know my position on all of that.
Get it in your brain. Watch it through your eyeballs, damn it.
No, but seriously, it's the best show in a long time. Anyway, let's move on to Brighton. Brighton leads 2-2 draw. Leeds wanted more, but that's almost not fair to say.
Really, Leeds scored 3 goals.
True. But that's not how that works. You got to score it in the right goal in the right half, and they did not.
Yeah. I saw that Harrison bender, and that thing was nasty.
He did have Harrison. Actually, that's funny. Harrison might be the better Gordie Howe hat trick nominee because he had a goal, an assist, and an own goal.
Yeah.
For anyone watching who doesn't know what a Gordie Howe hat trick is, Gordie Howe was one of the greatest hockey players of all time. And a Gordie Howe hat trick is an assist, a goal, and a fight. You do all those in the game.
Yeah, well, we can't really get a fight out of these guys, but
no, they do not fight.
That's a good replacement.
Happens a lot less often than a Gordie Howe hat trick. One goal, a goal, and an assist. My God. How do you feel after that? You got to be like, yeah, I did it, and I also didn't. I am simultaneously the reason why we drew and why we drew, and I mean that in both the good way and the bad way.
Yeah, I mean, he saved his keister, but I actually think this is what Brighton has drew twice. Just kidding. They in the last five game stretch. Jesus, I am all over the place today. They have only won against one Premier League team because Stoke
and it's Southampton.
I meant in
they're yeah. Oh, sorry, that's Leeds. Might be.
Mm-hmm.
My bad.
So they beat West Ham convincingly. They drew to Crystal Palace like they seem to be doing. Crystal Palace lost to Fulham. They beat Stoke for whatever reason that is, FA Cup, and then they drew. So they've been kind of stalling, but I mean, again, I think this team is still a well put together team, and they got nothing to really worry about. And let me see here. I really like this Evan Ferguson kid that they got. He's going to be good. Like, I know everybody's been looking at Matoma because he had that really hot streak for 5 games or something like that. But Evan Ferguson's a dude that's going to need to be looked out for.
All right. So they might have only won in Stoke, but they did it on a cold, rainy Tuesday night in Stoke.
But that's how it always is.
But my point is, that's a proper English team right there. If you can go win on a cold, rainy night in Stoke, on a cold, rainy Tuesday night in Stoke, it's a proper English team. Yeah, no, Brighton's definitely in it. I think one of the reasons why we haven't been talking about this more, Brighton, Fulham, and Brentford both all at the same time. Mm-hmm. And it's because they all did it. They all went up at the same time, and they're all kind of coming down at the same time. And Liverpool's just like started beating everybody, and you win 7-0, and it kind of feels like you won 3 times instead of just once. But they're all kind of coming down on their own, so we're not really noticing it. But yeah, all of them have just had this like massive drop in form.
Yeah.
The Kelly and Reddy show talked about it a bunch. About Kelly. No, it wasn't Kelly Reddy. It was a TFL podcast. Talked about it a bunch. They first of all, after a bunch of soccer nerds tried to get their minds wrapped around whether running rich is a good thing or a bad thing in a car, they talked about, has Fulham been running rich and are they burnt out? And then he had it at the end, and then he screwed up and said, no, they've been running lean. It's like, no, never mind. You had it to begin with. I think Fulham has been running rich. I think Bernd Leno's done his head. Solomon's been great. It's been covering the whole Mitrovic not scoring as many goals thing, and it's been fantastic, but they've definitely been on the way down. And as much as I would love to say that Arsenal is the greatest team the world's ever seen, which they are, Arsenal dismantled Fulham on Sunday, but at the same time, like, Arsenal deserved the win, and they deserved to win by a lot. But Fulham just looked straight up turned around. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to get 3 goals out of that game regardless. However, especially the Martinelli goal, how do you let Martinelli just body you and jump out of the way, Robinson? Like, they were just turning off. It was a beautifully worked goal, but the final header should not have been just that uncontested. And I think Fulham and Brighton are both – now, Brighton, I think, is a better team, and Brighton definitely has a better foundation. But both of them are kind of doing this, and Brentford, too, to a point. They're in a tricky situation, as Thomas Frank would say.
Just looking at their stretch of Premier League games here.
Brighton?
Since Fulham, since January. I don't know. Maybe I didn't want to go back that far. 1, 2, 3. They've won 3 in January. And then 4 loss, 5 loss, draw. So they won 3, lost 2. Yep, lost 2 and drew 1. So that was a good month for them. They lost to teams that, they should have lost. Newcastle, Tottenham. Maybe, maybe not, but they did just enough. The Spurs did. And then I was also looking to see how crammed their schedule has been. Squeezed in there, they had 3 FA Cups. So maybe they are losing their legs a little bit at this point.
Yeah, and just to be clear, we're not necessarily down on these teams. Like, I'm looking at Brighton's, and Brighton, objectively, if you're a Brighton fan, objectively, you see all the green on that screen and you're happy.
Oh, yeah.
But 2-2 draw to Leicester. Yes, they beat Fulham twice. I mean, not Fulham. They beat Liverpool twice in the FA Cup and the Premier League in January.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that makes you feel so good and warm, fuzzy inside, but we all know that Liverpool is not consistent at all. 1-0 win to Bournemouth, draw to Crystal Palace, lost to Fulham. Yeah, you beat Stoke, and yeah, you walked over West Ham, but, I mean, who isn't walking over West Ham right now? And then you're drawing to Leeds. If you take the last run of results, like, yeah, the results are good, but if you take the last little bit and you kind of shove it down, it just kind of seems like it's getting to be a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But watch them be in for an FA Cup. So
that's true. That'd be neat.
All right. I think we are 40 minutes in, and I think we need to go to the top of the table so we then have time to do true false. So, top of the table, almost. Manchester City, Crystal Palace. Needed a penalty and a Erling Haaland. By the way, not a great penalty take. It scored the goal, so it didn't matter. Sent the guy the wrong way.
Do you really send a goalkeeper? I mean, I'm not a guy
who can.
However, if the goalkeeper's already got their mind set on which way they want to go, do you know what I mean? That's what I'm referring to, not so much as.
Well, and again, that's if he very well might. Not saying he doesn't, but that's one of those big if words.
Capital I, capital F. Yes, let's go to
very, very boring first half.
This game, well, let me see. I won't lie. I skipped over this one because it was that boring. Let me see. Not a good showing from either team. Okay.
No, Alvarez came on very early for Foden.
They took 1 million shots, so that makes sense.
I'm not sure why, if Foden was injured or not. He was not having a good game. Wonder if it was one of those stomach bug things.
Maybe. It seems to be going around, people getting ill again out there.
Yeah, Reece James is out again. The virus. Who else? Someone, Jorginho came out with one. Like, there's something going around.
Yeah. Still took 1 million shots. They did. City. Was it Crystal Palace have maybe I'm not going to remember the stat. Damn. It was something about being shut out in 3 matches, I think it was.
3 straight? Or
maybe it wasn't that. It was something deeper than that, but I don't want to be wrong about it either.
Well, to talk about the match that we're talking about, I think City fans would rightly say that they were a little bit hard done. If you look at expected goals, their expected goals are over 2. Palace's expected goals were 0.21. So this really should have been a 2-0. And if you go into Selhurst Park and you win 2-0, then it seems like a wonderful thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it just you're in a really tough title challenge and it's razor thin, and they almost dropped points again.
Yep.
And I think that's why it seems so close. They definitely had a hard time actually putting the match to bed. But one thing I will say is they have been outperforming their expected goals all season. And in fact, Haaland has about 7 more goals than his expected goals would lead you to believe. Now, that being said, Arsenal's also outperforming their expected goals. And year over year, the teams at the top of the league do outperform those expected goals.
That's why they're there.
Yep, exactly. So long story short, this is the type of game that everyone's going to look at this week because it's the match they played this week. And of course, they're actually playing right now. It's currently the 9th minute against Salzburg. I think they're playing. No, Leipzig. Sorry. Leipzig. Yep, the other Red Bull. Jesus. So no one's going to remember this match. And I don't even know if it's actually that much to talk about, apart from, oh man, they almost didn't do it.
Yep.
What is something I do think is worth talking about is we are now 27 matches into this season.
Mm-hmm.
And City are also it's currently 1-1, and away goals don't count for anything anymore. Thank God.
Yeah, right.
It's currently 1-1 against Leipzig. Liverpool, even though they have the greatest striker in the world, not Liverpool, sorry. City, even though they have the greatest striker in the world, and they do, are not just putting away teams like we're used to.
Yeah.
Even in the Champions League, like this isn't even a Champions League argument. And it's funny because right now I'm kind of rooting for City because I need them to have those Champions League games to take more minutes off guys' legs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although, Holland almost just made it 1-0 City.
Gotcha.
I think that's the only story from this game. Like they're just that killer City instinct isn't there. But you know what is there? The results.
Is De Bruyne? I love De Bruyne. I absolutely do. I loved him when he was playing for Wolfsburg. Is he the problem? Because he's not.
Down.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting at. Because I'm looking at this stat right now. Pre-World Cup, he had played 19 games, 17 starts, 3 goals, 12 assists, 61 chances created. Now, post-World Cup, 15, so 4 less games. Significantly less stuff here going on. 12 starts, 2 goals, 5 assists, 38 chances created. So is he getting old? Is it the World Cup being at a bad time?
I think he's just tired. It's a lot. It's a lot in the legs. We've been talking about this with Liverpool guys.
Well,
City has more depth and they rotate more, but KDB is always in.
Yes.
I think it's just that. And I also think I'm going to take a little bit of exception with the way you said, is he the problem? No, he was the solution for years and years and years and years. And he has one down year now. And now, is he the problem? I know, but that's the problem. That's how people talk, right? I know you don't mean that. You've loved Kevin De Bruyne before most people even knew who the hell he was. I'm not saying that you actually think he's the problem. Mm-hmm. But I do think there's a little bit of that. It's the reason why dynasties are so hard to keep. You're looking at Liverpool. Liverpool won the FA Cup and the EFL Cup last year. But they literally, last match, lost the Premier League and played in the Champions League final. And it has taken them 27 games to get their feet under them just in the Premier League. And even then, can you really argue that they have their feet under them? They just lost 1-0 to Bournemouth.
Hit or miss, I suppose, huh?
I also, and again, I have been talking about this the entire time, this narrative that City is having a down year bothers me. City's last 5-point totals through 27 games. This year, 61. Last year, 66. Year before that, 62. Year before that, 57. Year before that, 65. Goal differentials, 42, 47, 34, 39, 54.
Is it because the narrative is Arsenal's that good and that City, the fact that everybody's downplaying, or I guess they would be downplaying how good Arsenal has been versus the light being shown that City is that, or they're having a down year, that kind of narrative, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's that. I think it's City doesn't win in their electrifying way all the time anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think it's, you look at it, Arsenal has lost to United away.
Yep.
although so did City. Arsenal lost to City twice in quick succession in the FA Cup and the Premier League when they came to the Emirates.
Mm-hmm.
But I do agree with you that I think a large part of it is, and I don't even think I'm not trying to say it's anti-Arsenal. I'm trying to have an actual conversation about why people are thinking the way they think. And what I really think the big thing is Arsenal is still the youngest team in the Premier League. If they do finish this, big if, knock on all the wood in the world, turn around 3 times and spit. If they do win this, they will be the youngest Premier League champions by I think 3 years. I think the youngest average team before them was 27.
That's an incredible
feat. And they're a little under 25. And I think the other ones were a little under 28. It's 27 and 278 days or whatever. I don't remember exactly what it is. Someone will hopefully check my math and probably tell me I'm way off. But my point is they will definitely be the youngest team. They're the youngest team in the Premier League right now. So I think you look at this Manchester City team, they have a robot scoring goals at will. And I think that's the other thing. He literally scored hat tricks for fun.
And now he's
and then stopped scoring hat tricks for fun because, of course, you do. It's the Premier League. Eventually, they're going to slow you down.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't take away anything from what he did to begin the season. You're just going to slow down.
Just makes it harder.
You look at Kevin De Bruyne, you look at Zach Grealish, you look at all these guys, and who are the guys with name recognition on Arsenal? City rejects, right? Jesus, Zinchenko, and all these guys who weren't good enough for Pep, which even Pep will tell you, no, that's not what it was. It's not about being good enough, So I think that's where the narrative comes from. So everyone sees high-flying Arsenal, and they're going, yeah, they're going to fall off eventually. They're young. They're dumb. They did this last year, which they did too. Mm-hmm. If you just look at it from a history perspective, Arsenal bottled top 4 last year, and City on the last day of the season made sure they won.
Stop it. I don't need to hear that again. I'm so tired of hearing that.
You think I'm not, but my point is, I think that's where most of it's coming from. So now the Arsenal is still 5 points clear. Like Jamie Carragher said it a couple of weeks ago. They were 5 points clear at the international break. They lost Jesus for 3 months. Jesus is back, and they're still 5 points clear. Mm-hmm. What makes more sense? Arsenal's that good, which, by the way, has to be a scary thought for teams.
Well, yeah.
The youngest team in the league, who is, by the way, signing everybody to extensions. Martinelli signed to an extension. Saka said he didn't even want to talk to other teams. We're signing all these. Our veterans, if you take out Partey and Jesus, our veteran guy, Partey and Granit Xhaka, our other veteran guy, yes, Jorginho's on now.
I know what you mean.
Leandro Trossard, when we signed him from Brighton, brought up our average age by a lot. And so did Jorginho. Well, the other guy, Jesus is 25 years old. Mm-hmm. It's so what makes more sense, that this Arsenal team's that good or that Manchester City's bottling it? It doesn't matter what the numbers say, because the numbers say they're not. The numbers say they're pretty much bang on, maybe slightly below average. And I mean slightly below average by 2 points over 27 matches. They've played 27. They've lost 4. They've drawn 4. That's no one in the world is going to say they're having a bad season. No, I think it's just also scary. This Arsenal team is, if they're actually this good, if Mikel Arteta is actually this good, and this Arsenal team is actually this good, which after 27 matches, I think at a certain point you kind of got to start to think, oh God, I think they might be. The rest of the league has to be going shit.
Yeah.
We got to buy so many guys. Mm-hmm. If Manchester City goes and buys Haaland and then loses to this Arsenal team, other people got to be, what the hell do we have to do?
Now, have to spend money. Like you just said.
You're going to have to spend a ton of money. And the Super League is real, and it exists, and it's played in England. Juventus is in shambles right now. Napoli's amazing. I love watching Napoli. They're great. The Bundesliga has become very fun. I'm not talking about what's fun to watch. I'm just talking about where the money is.
Then it's the Premier League. It's always the Premier League.
Real has a ton of money. Atletico is 20 points off the pace right now in La Liga.
Didn't notice that because I don't pay attention to La Liga.
I think Barcelona has 65 points through 27 or 26 matches, and Atletico have 45, I think.
I'm looking it up at this moment. Barcelona 65, Real 56, Atletico 48.
48 now. Still, that's crazy to me.
They beat Noah.
All right. We are going a little bit long. I did talk about Arsenal a little bit here. If anyone else is still interested in Arsenal, or you may notice the other team we didn't talk about, the Villa. We have our own shows dedicated to those guys. So make sure you are subscribed to WikiGood Sports. Links are in the description below. By the way, while you're subscribing to that, make sure you subscribe to us. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on TikTok. I think the videos also find their way into Facebook. I don't know. I haven't used Facebook in forever. It's not 2007 anymore. That's what it is. But Instagram, TikTok, that's where you can find us. Please reach out. We love interfacing with you guys. Also on YouTube, which may be where you're here. We're also everywhere podcasts can be found. Now we're on to my favorite segment. Although I think my new favorite segment, I'm going to tease it a little bit because I'm going to make you do it next week. Aaron wants to hold on.
Okay.
What's happening? You're about to get a live, not live because we're not recording live. What is this? Oh no. Oh my God.
Oh no.
That's a handball. They're giving a handball for that. That's worse than the Bournemouth one.
Hey man.
I have no idea what a handball is. Anyway, we're getting ready for, we're getting into, run it back. Got to remember to edit that. Aaron's going to put a new segment together that I'm super excited for. It's going to be, I don't know what the name is yet, but it's going to be something along the line of same place, new position, or same position, new face, something like that. But basically, what is the one guy a certain team needs? Or if they already have that guy, what position do they actually need to be playing him in?
Yep. I think that'll be a fun little.
No, it's going to be great. I think we need to start off with Chelsea. Right now, Chelsea has a great... No, seriously. Who is their striker? Who is their striker? I want you to tell me right now. Go run your Football Manager magic. Tell me right now, who is the guy that's going to get Chelsea back to the Champions League?
You want me to tell? I'll
no,
tell you.
Not right now. Not right now. Run it. Oh, Italian team. Okay, he's already got a guy in mind. This will be great. Anyway, on to our known segment. True, so, or falso. We give true falses to each other, true false statements, and the other person has to say what it is and defend it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went first last time. Holland just scored. Again, I'm mad, but I'm also happy. Anyway, you go first this time. Give it to me.
Okay. So I hate the fact that these players have been given so much liberty to crowd the ref. And I know sometimes the FA will fine these players, but it's not enough. So next year, teams and players will be fined a more significant amount to prevent crowding the ref.
Okay, so my answer to that is false. They will not. And my reasoning will be because that means that the FA made a smart decision and they are incapable of doing that. They should, but this is not should they, shouldn't they? This is true false, and the answer is false.
That's so sad, true.
All right. Manchester United are about to lose Casemiro for 4 matches.
Yep.
They will not win any of those matches.
I need to see who they're playing because that's really going to dictate who.
I will pull it up, sir. It is Real Betis, Fulham, Newcastle, and Brentford.
I'm going with
Real
false.
Betis is away, by the way.
I'm going to say false. I think that Betis would be the one that they win out of all of them.
Holland just scored again.
Oh my God. They could beat Fulham, but I think that would probably end up being more of a draw. So I'm gonna say false because I think they're actually gonna beat Betis.
Okay.
And I think they could draw against Newcastle, and then Brentford's actually gonna win. Bookmark that.
I have that opposite because Newcastle's in Newcastle and Brentford's at Old Trafford. So, wow.
Brentford like to play better. Well, they like to show out away.
Yeah, Holland's showing up for the Champions League right now.
He just scored another goal.
He slammed it off the post and followed it up and headed it in. It's a great goal. You should watch it later. He is an animal. He's an animal in the Champions League. Holy crap. Anyway, hit me with your next one.
So we are not leaving the Casemiro vein. Having Casemiro has been more of a liability than an asset. True.
Absolutely false. Categorically false. It feels like it right now, and I agree, but I think that people do not realize that if they don't have Casemiro, I do not think they're even in the top 5.
It's likely. Yeah.
And I think the stats prove it. I think the stats really prove it. He is so good. I said earlier, their expected goals for go down like a goal when he's not in.
It's like averaging a 7-2 for the season. So, I mean, he's doing something right.
True. All right. In the top 10 for assists, there are 1, 2, 3 Arsenal players.
Yeah.
First, the top is Bukayo Saka.
Yeah.
Who is 12. He is 3 behind Kevin De Bruyne at 12.
Mm-hmm.
True or false, an Arsenal player will finish top of the league in assists.
At the rate De Bruyne is going, I think that's true. I think also the way the team dynamic works for Arsenal kind of plays into that statement.
Yeah, that's the main thing I was getting at.
So I think that's going to be true, and I don't know who it's going to be, but it's going to be an Arsenal player.
Could be Trossard at this point. Jeez.
I mean, he's got more assists than Mudryk right now in one game. From one game, excuse me.
Anyway.
So looking forward to match day 28. The game to watch will be Wolves Leeds matchup.
Let me remind myself real quick.
Yeah.
Who's up?
There's actually only 7 matches this weekend, I think. So there's
Oh yeah. Palace away at the Emirates. Maybe dark horse Everton at Stamford Bridge. But right now, if I could only watch one game other than Arsenal,
yeah, there you go.
It would be Wolves Leeds. It would be Wolves Leeds, no doubt. I agree with you 100%. That could be very fiery. I think I'm going to be very sad though because I think Wolves is going to really run away with that one.
Yeah, probably. I don't know who they have injured. Doesn't really matter, but
all right.
I think
yeah, they're a better team, and they definitely have a better coach, considering Leeds is kind of coachless. Do you have a fourth?
I don't have a fourth, no.
Okay. So here's mine, and Brian even said this was a good one.
Okay.
4th place in the Premier League table at the end of the season will be closer to 20th than they will be to 1st.
I like this question. This is a good question. Let me look at the table. So we're looking at 4th place. And we're seeing that it's 12.2 points. Okay, no wait. You said from the 4th position to
4th to last. Right now is 20 points. Okay, 20 points separate 4th from last. No, sorry, not 20 points. Excuse me, 25 points separate 4th from last. And 18 points separate 1st from 4th. 4th is currently Tottenham.
Shoot, this is a good question. This is good true false. with the way that this table has been, as close as it has been, I think this is the most balanced Premier League season that we have ever seen. I could see that being a true statement.
I think it's actually going to be true. I know we haven't really been defending our own, but United's dropped off a little bit. Tottenham's dropped off a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I think the main thing is that Arsenal and City are just going to drive each other further up the table.
That makes sense. They got to keep the competition going, or else somebody's going to slip and capture it. So
the other thing is, and I asked you this before, and you said false. I said that the winner of the Premier League would have less than 90 points, and you said false, that both teams would be above 90.
Yeah.
So both teams get at least 90 points. Now we're saying right now that after 27 matches, the Spurs team at 48 points is going to end up with at least 70. And I don't know about that. That's 22 points through 11 matches.
I guess it doesn't matter what they play.
By the way, that's 22 out of a possible 27. No. Sorry, not 27. That's 22 out of a possible 33.
That's possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, but true, false. I think it's more likely that they're closer. I think they're going to be closer to relegation. I think that's for sure. And the reason why I made it bottom of the league is because I wanted that actual to 20th.
Yeah.
Spot. You know what I mean? I think it's not assured because nothing's assured, but I think it's incredibly likely that they will be closer to 18th than they will be to the top.
Yeah.
So I find it funny. We're talking about how balanced this feels, and it does feel balanced because every team has something to play for every weekend. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, the gaps between. Seriously, right now there are 44 points between 20th and 1st. 44 points is more than it would take to be safe in this Premier League.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Geez, Southampton would kill to have 44 points right now.
Whoever does win the league right now between Arsenal and City, both teams have probably already lapped whoever ends up in 20th.
Mm-hmm.
But it also feels very comfortable in that scenario of being balanced. We're used to every team being within like 40 or 50 points.
Yeah.
And now it's not. All right. I'm going to go stop watching City because they have this game sewn up, and that's kind of what I wanted. And now I hate watching them be good. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
I actually think we are all set.
All right. So like I said a couple minutes ago, please like, please subscribe, please follow, please rate, please leave a comment. All those things are great. If you made it this far, thank you very much for listening. If you were in the capital region of New York, you can find me at the Beer Garden for pretty much any Arsenal game. You'll find him there for a decent amount of the Villa games. If not, just go to the Beer Garden because it's a phenomenal place to go watch a soccer game, a football game, whatever you want to call it. We will be on next week, I believe, and then I think I'm already going to take a preemptive break for the international break. There won't be that much to talk about, and a break would be great anyway.
Yep.
So you have been listening to Swinging at Shins. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. Links for anything that you could be interested in, whether it's the YouTube channel, our podcast links, our social media links, everything's in the description below. Thank you very much for listening.